Good afternoon. This is the Mayor of Bath's Multi-Faith Gathering 2022. For those of you joining us on YouTube, this is the second year in a row that we've had to carry out this event virtually. We are hopefully in a position where the COVID situation is easing, and next year we will be back to a physical event. But we do hope you enjoy this afternoon's event, and I would now like to hand you over to the Right Worshipful, the Mayor of Bath, Councillor June Player.
Hello everybody, and may I say welcome, and how lovely it is to see you here. And I would very much like to welcome everyone who is watching this multi-faith gathering on YouTube. I have to say that I find it a real honour to be having this mayoral theme, my mayoral theme, being explored by the many faiths here. And I am really looking forward to hearing your thoughts and perspectives on it. I have always been a community-minded person, and when I was asked what my mayoral theme would be, I have to be honest, it was fairly easy for me to decide, as my long-term slogan of keeping it clean, green and friendly, promoting pride in our community, well, it just jumped out. So that's what I decided on. My slogan actually came about as a sort of almost rallying call, you might say, for my small neighbourhood of East Twerton, which is where I came to live and have now been here quite a lot of years. East Twerton, for those of you who do not know, is the area between Broomhays, the railway line where Oldfield Park Station is, Jews Lane, which is opposite Liddell on the Lower Bristol Road, and that section of the Lower Bristol Road between Broomhays and Jews Lane. This was the area I decided to focus upon to try and improve in both its looks and community feel. My first approach was to try to improve the look of Oldfield Park Station, as it is in the heart of our community and highly visible, and the main rail line gateway into our beautiful city of Bath. And let's face it, first impressions do count. And I'm sorry to say it was looking very sad, very neglected and extremely uninviting. So I approached Bath's bar station manager about working down there, and to cut a long story short, I ended up adopting the station to be able to do all this. I was really, really lucky that two ladies, locals, decided to join me with it. And after many weeks of clearing it all up, and with fantastic support from the station manager and his staff whenever they could help, we finally got to the situation where we were able to start planting it up, which of course had been the original idea. And so now the sections that you see down there of the train and the pig and the actual name, we finally have pulled those all together. I called it the On Board Community Project, and it's now been going for 16 years. And I have to say, even though I'm saying it myself, it sure is looking a lot better than it used to. And it has become a far more attractive area for the station users, for people passing by, and importantly, for nature. This then led on to organising litter picks around the station initially, advertised through posters, and luckily quite a lot of locals would turn up and join in them. And from those very local litter picks, we now do ones much further afield. These are the clean part of my slogan. The green being, of course, the station planting, which spread on to free tree giveaway events, whereby locals could come and collect a fruit tree and then go and plant in their garden. And let's face it, how much better it all looks now for all of us to be living in a much cleaner looking and far more flowered area, which is attracting the birds, the bees, and of course the butterflies, and a host of other really important insects. The positivity this brings is huge to all of us, and really it does increase our well-being. My slogan very much sums up what I stand for, feel passionate about, and what motivates me. And I am delighted to be able to say that I've attended quite a lot of mayoral functions consisting and fitting in perfectly with my slogan. However, I never realised the huge relevance and significance my slogan would have on everything today. The real and enormous concerns we have about our planet and its very existence. Therefore, every now seemingly small and insignificant action from us all, cumulatively, will have a real and positive impact. Coupled with positive action by governments and major organisations worldwide, we will hopefully, or it will hopefully, ensure the planet and the rest of us and all the creatures and everything on it will have a chance to flourish now and in the future. Thank you. And now I think it is over to you, Jane, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. And it's been wonderful to hear of the environmental initiatives that you've been involved in over the past year, over the past many years. I remember myself noticing that little station garden when I've occasionally caught the train to Keynsham. Yes, lovely. So first of all, I'd like to say welcome to all of you this afternoon, especially the Right Worshipful, the Mayor of Bath, Councillor June Player, and all members of our local faith communities and those who are going to be giving the presentations this afternoon, and the guests and citizens of Bath who are watching on YouTube or who can watch later. You are all very welcome, and we hope you enjoy the programme we have for you this afternoon. So I'm honoured to have been given the opportunity to present this programme to you today, and I would just like to say a little bit about who I am. So my name's Jane O'Hara, and I'm currently Secretary of Bath Interfaith Group. But I'd just like to remind everybody that, in fact, the Mayor of Bath has been patron of Bath Interfaith Group for 20 years now. It actually began in 2002. But even earlier than this, there was a close relationship between the Mayor's office and the local interfaith group. And we think going back to around about the mid-1990s, when the multi-faith element of the civic event, which was the Mayor's call to prayer, was first introduced. And that's kind of evolved into this Mayor's multi-faith gathering. So it's wonderful to see it persisting, despite the difficulties of technology, but we're managing to keep going. Let's hope we can all get together next year. So Bath Interfaith Group is fortunate to have always had a diversity of membership, and you'll see some of us this afternoon. And I think all of us presenting this afternoon are active members of Bath Interfaith Group. But for any watching on YouTube who don't know much about Bath Interfaith Group, or even that there is an interfaith group, please do contact us if you would like to be informed of local events. We do events practically monthly, actually, throughout the year, and you can do that through the Mayor's office. So now on to the programme. So we have the first slide, which is, as it happens, the order was chosen by Anthony. The Bahá'í Faith is the first presentation, and I'm a member of the local Bahá'í community. So it is me that's going to do the presentation. Although, as you see on the slide there, the presentation was prepared by Rui Farmer, who a lot of you will also know, and myself. And we're going to be addressing keeping it clean, green and friendly, promoting pride in our community, the Mayor's theme for this year, using some selections from the writings of the Bahá'í Faith to address this theme. And some of you may be interested to know that these were written well over 100 years ago, up to 150 years ago. So they're relevant for today as well. So the Bahá'í Faith places great importance on care for our environment and those around us. The Lord of all mankind hath fashioned this human realm to be a garden of Eden, an earthly paradise. But our personal conduct is also important, especially with regard to how we deal with others and help them. Be a home for the stranger, a balm to the suffering, a tower of strength for the fugitive. Be eyes to the blind and a guiding light unto the feet of the erring. And one of the most important qualities we can show is trustworthiness, as this underpins all our interactions with others. Be worthy of the trust of thy neighbour, and look upon him with a bright and friendly face. And to me, that seems the essence of a wonderful, friendly neighbourhood. But of course, love for others is hugely important as well, especially if actions are carried out with love. O thou, the compassionate God, bestow upon me a heart which, like unto a glass, may be illumined with the light of thy love, and confer upon me thoughts which may change this world into a rose garden through the outpourings of heavenly grace. Do not be content with showing friendship in words alone. Let your heart burn with loving kindness for all who may cross your path. Care for the environment in these days is often expressed through the recognition of the importance of the role of trees in the environment. And interestingly, the symbol of the tree has always been important in the Bahá'í Faith. Regard ye not one another as strangers. Ye are the fruits of one tree and the leaves of one branch. I'd like to conclude my presentation with a short song by Nancy Ward, which is called To the Planter of Trees.
In the last days, in the days of judgment, the Lord shall say to the planters of trees, come up, come up, come up higher. Your names shall be exalted. For while others were sleeping, you were laboring, planting trees. And though the wine of the fruit is forbidden the faithful, the wine of the love of God shall flow for you. The wine of the love of God shall flow for you.
And I'd just like to conclude by saying, of course, we're actually broadcasting this, if that's the right term, on the very special day when our Queen celebrates 70 years of ascension to the throne, and that's a wonderful achievement in itself. And I believe that one of the ways she wants to mark her platinum year is by encouraging even more planting of trees. So let's hope there are many opportunities to do that so that we can all be planters of trees. So now I'd like to call on the presenter of our next presentation, who is a member of the Druid community, Sulian Caradon.
Thank you, Jane. That was, you've put me in a very difficult position because I was going to do some music as well, and I can't compete with that glorious song you just did. But I'll do my best. It's going to be a fairly short presentation because I'm still recovering from my journey back from Hastings. But it's, as usual, it's a verse from a folk song. I'll just see if I can find the right note. Through green fields and meadows we oft times did walk, and sweet conversation of love we have talked. And the birds in the woodland so sweetly did sing, and the lovely thrushes' voices made valleys to ring. Now that takes us back to a time before our present hectic way of living when we were still very much in good relationship to our countryside and our land and our trees. But over the past 200 years or so, Europeans in particular have been filling our planet with chemicals for agriculture in the form of fertilizers and pesticides. And on the theme of clean, recent research in ecology has revealed the damage done to the health of the soil by many of these artificial compounds, which can destroy the proper organic interactions underground, such as the worms and the fungi. And I've just finished reading a wonderful book by Isabel Tree, who has a farm in Sussex, and they have rewilded their farm with the most amazing results. Many species of wild animals were virtually extinct before, but they now have hosts of nightingales and many other animals, plants, and birds as a result of rewilding the whole system of the way they run the farm. On the theme of green, our understanding of nature used to be instinctive, but with the development of rationality in humans, we began to think we could improve on natural processes by interfering with natural systems. And this has led to our current climate crisis, which I'm sure we're all aware of, rather late in the day for some of us. And of course, there are still plenty of people in complete denial. It's perhaps partly to blame on the fact that we have become more keen on living comfortably with distractions for our comfort in increasingly large cities, which are obviously now the worst ones. What's the story of them in the Bible? Was it Babylon? I can't remember. Anyway, huge, great concrete structures which go back also into history. If there is to be a viable future for life on our planet, it has to be through cooperation rather than conflict. And on the theme of community, as our mayor has pointed out, a wonderful community scheme that she started by rescuing Oldfield Park railway station to be something nice to look at. It still has one or two of the original fruit trees there, I notice, apple trees, which are still there, gold English varieties. And in that context, I just mentioned on our journey on the way back yesterday from Hastings, we had to wait in the waiting room at Reading Station. And as you may know, waiting rooms can often be rather soulless, boring, intimidating places. But this one has obviously been done by a fan of David Attenborough. And two of the walls are filled from top to bottom with pictures of a forest scene and a lake with birds. And it's absolutely wonderful. So much more of that. And I'll leave it there for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sylvian, and thank you for reminding us of the damage we can do so that we become more mindful. It was also wonderful to listen to your live singing. It's always good to have live music. So thank you for that. Now I think we'll go on to our Jewish representative, which is Iris, and she's going to give us a short talk and also share some music, I understand.
Good afternoon, everyone, and Madam Mayor, of course. So for the theme chosen for the mayor, keeping it clean, green, and friendly, promoting pride in our community. I have a friend who lives here in Bath. She went to Glasgow for the COP26. She participated in protests and marches, holding banners, exchanging ideas with like-minded people. Since coming back, she felt that that wasn't enough. She needed to do more. So she has been organizing talks locally, inviting scientists and experts in the field of climate change, raising more awareness of the urgency to act. I had a conversation with her about her motivation. She reminded me of the concept of tikkun olam. Tikkun olam, if I were to translate it from Hebrew to English, it is repairing the world, whether it is about poverty, abuse, refugees, inequality, or the global warming. If we see something that is not right, our Jewish values encourage us or inform us that we should try to make it better. Another famous expression in Judaism is that you are not required to finish your work, yet neither are you permitted to desist from it. This comes from Pirkei Avot, which means the ethics of the fathers. For my friend, the work in this case is to protect the planet. What this expression means is that even if the work seems too much for one person to take on or too time-consuming, we should not shy away and give up. We should start it. Hopefully, others will join forces and others still will continue when we cannot. But if we don't start, it will never get done. Finally, another famous Jewish saying attributed to the sage Rabbi Hillel is, and if not now, when? This saying is written in very simple and terse Hebrew. My friend is thinking about the question, what is it to be human at this time? And what am I called to do? So this is for her the motivation to act and to act now, so that we can keep it clean and green and friendly and be proud in our community. Also, doing things together for one special focus or target or goal makes us get to know each other better and develop relationships among ourselves. And that can make us even more proud of ourselves. I would now like to introduce the song that I have chosen for this occasion. It is called Adama Veshamayim, which translates as earth and sky. You will hear it in both Hebrew and English, but the singable English version is not exactly as the words in Hebrew. So I'll just try to translate my own way from Hebrew to English. So Adama Veshamayim, earth and sky. The warmth of the fire, the sound of the water, feeling it with our body, with our spirit, and with our soul. My interpretation of these elements, is that these elements form our world. They sustain us, and therefore we should ensure they continue to exist at the right balance. I hope you will enjoy listening, and now if you just wait a moment, I will try to share it.
Hello there, I'm Drew Salida. Very grateful to be invited to play at this interfaith gathering. This song's called Adama Vashamayim, and the lyrics translate as earth and sky, heat of fire, sound of water. Adama Vashamayim, Homayitz Zilchamayim, Ani Magish Zobbegufi, Beruchi Benishmati, Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, 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 ho. Ani magish zopagufi beruhi benishmati. Earth and sky, heat of fire, and the sound of water, the earth and sky, oh heat of fire, and the sound of water. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, 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 ho. Ani magish zopagufi beruhi benishmati. Hey ya ho, hey ya ho, hey ya ho, hey ya ho. Ani magish zopagufi beruhi benishmati, beruhi benishmati, beruhi benishmati. Hey ya ho, hey ya ho, hey ya ho.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Iris, for sharing that. And for I really like that expression, repairing the walls. I shall think of that. And also the idea that it's very important that we show sustained effort and that we work together with other people, because I think those three things together would help to get us out of some of the mess that we're in at the moment. So thank you very much about that. Now we go on to, I think, what will be our final presentation from the faith community this afternoon, which is the Christian representative, Reverend David Musgrave, who's going to talk to us next.
Thank you, Jane, and good afternoon to you all. I can't compete in the music stakes, I'm afraid. I would love to, and if you want to go away and afterwards and listen, for instance, to Yusuf Islam / Cat Stevens singing Morning Has Broken, that would be as suitable as any. But it's going to be just words from me for the moment. It's said that the Christian Bible starts in a garden and ends in a city. The first scene in the Hebrew scriptures, what Christians call the Old Testament, shared, of course, by Muslims and Baha'i, as Jane reminded us. The story of the Garden of Eden, a place that is clean and green, if not particularly friendly, because it starts off with only one person. So God decides a partner is needed, the first community, and so things take off from there. Much of Scripture, as of human history, tells of the efforts to return, to rediscover that mythical place of perfection. The Christian New Testament tells of a turning point in human history where God takes human form, coming to live with us as Jesus, and show at our level the way forward in a way that we, with our feeble human understanding, could perhaps find. And so through the New Testament, there is a progression until right at the end of the Bible, we finally have a picture of a place we can dream about. And it's a city, but a city totally different from the Tower of Babel that we heard mentioned earlier, totally different from Blake's dark satanic mills. at a time when the early followers of Jesus have gone through years of persecution at the hands of Roman authorities and sometimes local mobs. St. John brings hope by showing that the world can be otherwise. And I think in our day that hope is just as important when we're surrounded by stories of pain, of suffering, of a world that so often seems to be going in the wrong direction. We have something to hold to and to believe is God's purpose for us and for this planet. And so John, in parts of the last two chapters of the Bible, the 21st and 22nd chapters of the book of Revelation, John sets out something of this vision. And I'm just going to read some selected parts from those two chapters. This is John speaking. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. And I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "See, the home of God is among mortals. He will dwell with them. They will be his peoples, and God himself will be with them. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. Death will be no more. Mourning and crying and pain will be no more, for the first things have passed away." Then there are some verses with a weird and wonderful descriptions of the city going into quite a lot of detail. A few verses later, John continues, "I saw no temple in the city, for its temple is the Lord God, the Almighty, and the Lamb." The Lamb is the metaphor for Jesus. "And the city has no need of sun or moon to shine on it, for the glory of God is its light, and its light is the Lamb. The nations will walk by its light, and the kings of the earth will bring their glory into it. Its gates will never be shut by day, and there will be no night there. People will bring into it the glory and the honor of the nations, but nothing unclean will enter it, nor anyone who practices abomination or falsehood, but only those who are written in the Lamb's book of life." Then the angel showed me the river of the water of life, bright as crystal, flowing from the throne of God and of the Lamb through the middle of the street of the city. On either side of the river is the tree of life with its 12 kinds of fruit, producing its fruit each month. And the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations. Nothing accursed will be found there anymore. So we can dream on. We can perhaps shut our eyes and let that vision appear ever more vividly before us. But more importantly, we don't stay with the vision. We need to be inspired by it to work together for our city and for our world, a world in which that vision can become reality. Madam Mayor, we are with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, David. And I'm sure all of us have a great hankering to get back to the garden, as that song in the 70s used to say. And we look forward in hope to a golden age to come. We're obviously still a long way from it, but let's hope we will even, when I say we, humankind will eventually get its act together and sort out all the harm it's done in the past. So thank you very much for that. And thank you, all of you, to all you contributing this afternoon. I'd just like to ask now for a moment's silent reflection, and then I'll invite all participants to take part in the final prayer, which will be displayed on our screen. So let's just reflect for a moment. And now I don't know whether we can see the words, and I'll invite all of you to make sure you are not muted, and then we can say the prayer together. Just to remind you, I believe a version of this prayer was actually composed for the millennium. So let us all read together. Let there continue to be respect for the earth, peace for its peoples, love in our lives, delight in the good, forgiveness for past wrongs, and hope in all our hearts. Thank you. And I now invite Madam Mayor to close this event with a few words.
Thank you. Well, I will now inform you that I very nearly was going to do a song myself. Because in a previous life, that's what I call it in the past, I did used to sing in a couple of bands and things. And I can remember writing a song in the 80s, just about everything that it now sadly we're going through. And it was called Save the World. And it had lines in it such as, the seas that we cross are crying out in their rage. They are dying, dying, and how true this is. So much pollution, so much rubbish and everything is going into the waters, and the poor creatures are being so badly affected. However, the humans are really causing all that problem because of all the waste. We live in takeaway times, throwaway lives and times. It's ridiculous. There's no permanency anymore. And I'm afraid I think greed is behind all of it, virtually. And our land is being, all the world is being destroyed by so much mining and extraction and just ridiculous things. And as I can't quite now remember, as one of you did comment on the fact that people want a so-called easier life, a more so-called comfortable life, but heavens, at the expense of what? The planet and the poor creatures that are harmed and destroyed. Or it breaks my heart. And it was interesting that in a couple of the comments from yourselves, the tree of life, of course, was mentioned, and the lovely and Nancy's song, symbol of the tree. No, wait a minute, song from Nancy. Oh yes, planter of trees, and the tree has always been a symbol of importance to the Bahá'í Faith. I really connected with so much with what was being said by everybody. And Richard, I applaud you for your singing, because I didn't do my singing. I wasn't quite sure actually whether I should, so I didn't. But the beautiful song by Nancy, and then the beautiful song from the Jewish faith, that was just so toe tapping and hand clapping and really jolly. It was so joyous, and that's what we want all the time. And also it's very important, I think, people do a lot of talking about things, but they don't actually do an awful lot. And everybody, I think, you have got to lead from the front. And I am a big believer in that. And hope, we all need hope. And one of the lines in my song, I'm afraid we need more now than hope, because sadly, we've got to act, because if we do not act, we've had it, and everything else goes with it. And I don't know about yourselves, but I now have an 8-month-old great grandson. I want him to have a future, and we all want the future. So I've thoroughly enjoyed listening to everything today. And if I'm put in a position like this again, I will be singing a song. I'll get my guitar and I will play it. So thank you so much.
Thank you for all those remarks, Madam Mayor. It's been a pleasure to share this afternoon with you. And I know I'm going to look on your website and see how I can get involved in the litter picking, for example, because that's happening in my area. So I really ought to do.
Oh, right. May I ask where your area is?
Well, I'm on the edges of Oldfield Park. I'm in the Oval.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Feel free to just contact me. Contact Elizabeth, actually, the Mayor's Parlour.
Right.
I think now it's time to approach certain peoples up there to get one going. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
And I'll see you at it, Jane.
All
And
right.
anybody else who would like to do it.
Okay. Thank you very much.